One size fits all seems like a good idea for clothes until you try them on. Same goes for healthcare. That's why United Healthcare offers flexible, budget-friendly coverage for medical, vision, dental, and more. Learn more at uh1.com.
On today's Smart 7, it's head teacher versus math teacher in the leaders' debate, and Joe Biden shuts the border. It's Wednesday, 5th of June, it's Global Running Day, and happy birthday, Troye Sivan.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Tuesday night saw Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer head to ITV studios in Salford for the first leaders' debate.
I'm seeking your backing to change our country, to make it work once again for you and your family.
You know what I would do? I'll cut your taxes, protect your pension, and reduce immigration.
It appeared very much headmaster versus maths teacher at times, but Sunak was clearly prepared to fight his corner, and with his party behind in the polls, he needed to make an impact. YouGov polling suggested that Sunak just shaded the debate by 51% to 49% for Starmer, but exchanges like this where he got called out on his claims over NHS waiting lists can't have helped.
They are now coming down.
7.2 yes. When you said you get them down, 7.2 million, they're now 7.5 million. I'd like you to explain how they're coming down.
Because they were coming down from where they were when they were higher.
7.2.
And they're now on their way down. They are down.
Sunak scored well on immigration and pushed hard on his line about Labour raising taxes, even though Starmer repeatedly denied it and accused the Tories of using fantasy figures to create his claim. It was a scrappy affair that seems unlikely to change the course of the election, and the two leaders go head-to-head again on the BBC in 3 weeks' time.
14 years with nothing to do but think about the future, but you have nothing to say about it, and all you can do is talk about the past. And it's clear, there are no big ideas here.
On the one hand, he says these are all the big ideas that Keir Starmer's coming up with, and they'll cost a fortune. Then he says he hasn't got any big ideas. I do appreciate why he doesn't want to talk about the last 14 years. He's ashamed of the last 14 years.
Things didn't go too well for Nigel Farage on his first campaign visit to Clacton-on-Sea on Tuesday. He was soaked with a bright yellow milkshake as he exited a Wetherspoons in a move reminiscent of the famous 2019 Five Guys shake incident in Newcastle. Nigel's entrance into the election campaign, though, and his demands that the net migration level be set to zero has sparked a bit of a panic amongst the Tories. They announced a new proposal on Tuesday which would see a cap on migrant numbers introduced, which would reduce each year. Home Secretary James Cleverly says the government will also set up a new independent body to manage it, to be called the Migrant Advisory Committee.
Immigration levels have been too high. We have taken action to bring them down, and we are committed to continue doing so. In stark contrast with the Labour Party, we need to get a grip of it, we need to bring it down, and we'll do so professionally and properly.
New SNP leader John McSweeney says the whole fixation on migration numbers is misguided.
This is a disastrous move from the Prime Minister. Migration is actually one of the most significant contributors towards economic growth, so I think we've got to encourage and welcome people to come here and to fuel economic growth.
Despite Donald Trump's many legal adventures which have seen him become a convicted felon, the US presidential election race remains tightly balanced. While Biden has improved the economy, he's been hammered by Republicans on immigration and the ongoing flood of asylum seekers at the southern border. Earlier this year, a bipartisan group brought legislation to Capitol Hill which would have meant significant reform of what everyone agrees is a broken immigration system. However, Donald Trump used his influence with MAGA Speaker Mike Johnson to kill the bill. That meant that on Tuesday that Biden took dramatic action, signing an executive order that will temporarily shut down the border when numbers pass a daily threshold. The order may be challenged by civil rights groups, but Biden says he has no choice.
The simple truth is there is a worldwide migrant crisis. And if the United States doesn't secure our border, there's no limit to the number of people may try to come here, because there's no better place on the planet than the United States of America.
Tuesday marked the end of the world's largest democratic process as the results of the Indian general election began to roll in. Polling has been going on for 6 weeks, with over 970 million people out of the population of 1.4 billion entitled to vote. It didn't go quite as Prime Minister Narendra Modi had hoped, with some polls predicting he'd win power for a third time in a landslide for his BJP party. But while they did win the most seats, they failed to win a clear majority and will now have to engage in talks with potential coalition partners. He was still happy to declare victory, though.
This is the biggest democracy in the world, and this is the victory of this democracy. And this is on India's constitution. A very big win.
Still to come on today's Smart 7, things heat up at the French Open and Sandra Oh has a Mad Monk story.
Right after this. Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome back.
Tuesday saw the first of the quarter-finals at the French Open. The men's side of the draw will be a little easier as Novak Djokovic has had to pull out of his Wednesday quarter-final with a knee injury. Jannik Sinner went through to the semi-finals where he will face Carlos Alcaraz. On the women's side, we're set for a semi-final that's a rerun of the 2022 final as American Coco Gauff defeated Ons Jabeur to set up a match with all-conquering world number 1 Iga Swiatek. Swiatek is looking forward to the game.
It's good to just keep going and not think about this match as something huge, but against Coco it's not easy. I'll just focus on myself and I'll prepare tactically and we'll see.
There's so much TV these days, it's easy to miss great shows, and you might have missed Sandra Oh's new show, which dropped on Sky Atlantic last month. It's called The Sympathizer, and it stars Sandra alongside Robert Downey Jr. in a sort of spy thriller set during the Vietnam War. That's not all she's been up to, though. She's also busy starring in an off-Broadway show called The Welkin, which features a huge cast with 16 different actors on stage. In fact, it's got so many actors, it qualified for a highly unusual funding arrangement, as she told Seth Meyers.
There's a monk who won a lottery.
Yep.
And with this, I'm not joking, with this money, he supports theater, but particularly for large casts. So we got some funding because our cast is so large that this monk who won the lottery helps fund this show, helps fund The Welkin.
You might think there are two types of people in the world, those who love Bridgerton and, well, everybody else. But according to Netflix, the number of people who love Bridgerton is accelerating as the first 4 episodes of Season 3 have already outperformed the whole of Season 2. And for the Bridgerton fanatic in your life, there are only 8 more days until the second half of Series 3 drops on June 13th. Just to drive those fans even further over the edge, there's a new steamy trailer too.
Is everything all right? What are you all this ink? Have you been writing?
Yes, letters. Until he knows the real you, he cannot possibly love you. Colin cannot discover my secret. Whistledown is power. If it's too difficult for you to reveal the truth, I will reveal it to him myself.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes and we'll give you the world.
Whether you're a morning person or a bedtime procrastinator, everyone deserves a mattress that works for their style. And you'll find the best mattress for you at Ashley. The new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley brings you one-of-a-kind body-conforming technology, making every sleep tailored to be your best. The collection also features cool-to-the-touch covers and motion absorption to help minimize sleep disruptions from partners, pets, or kids. Shop the all-new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley, in-store or online at ashley.com. Ashley, for the love of home.